So from free to middle of the road to more expensive, if you need a little more help, we're talking about the double chin, how to get rid of it. I'll take you exactly through it. We're going to go through exact pricing, and it's a conversation I have in my clinic many times a day. I've done it for over 20 years. I've seen so many devices come and go, and we'll even talk about some at-home devices. Are you wasting your time, or can they work? Now, part of the reason this is so popularized is not only Hollywood, Wall Street, all over the news and media, people with stronger jawlines are thought to have more success, be more powerful, be more attractive, and so on. So the jawline, with the advent of fillers, of course, they're being marketed to you with filters on social media. Everyone seems to have that perfect jawline. So why don't you, and how can you get rid of it? Well, the number one thing I tell people when they walk in the door, if they have weight to lose, is lose that weight. It's free. It can certainly only take weeks to months, depending on how much you have to lose. And even if you then need a treatment to tighten it up a little bit, you need much less. It can be less expensive. Now, so weight loss is the first thing to do. And I've seen amazing transformations, not only in friends of mine, but of course, throughout my patients. Now, when people come into the clinic, they want a treatment, they want to spend money, they want to walk out and have that magic wand and just look great. So they're a little disappointed to hear me say, hey, lose 20 pounds, come back in 4 months. But people are very, very happy they did it. Of course, there's the money savings like I spoke about, but your results will be better. And the reason is we age. And so it's not just fat under here, but it's laxity. So you have muscles like the digastric muscles here, you have the platysma band, and if you get surgery done, those are all tightened up, and you get that tightening and maybe liposuction at the same time. Now, if you lose weight, they seem to tighten up naturally. Certainly taking care of your collagen along the way with great skincare. And of course, you don't get a lot of photo damage underneath the chin. But the tighter you keep your skin, the more likely that weight loss is going to work. Now, there are genetically just some people who are thin and don't have a sculpted jawline, and they have a waddle or fat. So what do they do? A second pretty much free option is that I like is gua sha. Now that's using a tool to massage along the angle and underneath. And this does work. You're not going to find a double-blind, placebo-controlled trial that's showing this. Now why? Why wouldn't someone study this? Well, these gua sha tools are next to free. Sometimes they have LED lights, sometimes they have PEMF, sometimes they have vibration, or it's just a stone. Whatever it is, it's under $50 commonly. No company is going to put $5 million into a trial for gua sha when they're not going to get their money back. They'd much rather study a drug. So you're not going to find trials on this, but what I can tell you is my patients find a difference from the lymphatic drainage to probably some effect on the fat cells. There's probably some shrinking of the fat cells. Of course, when you get rid of lymphatic fluid, right away you're going to get tightening. And the massage likely is causing and stimulating fibroblasts, and those fibroblasts, of course, are producing collagen and elastin, all the things that keep our undercarriage here tight. So gua sha, very effective, I think. I want you to comment below. Because there's no study on this, we're learning from this channel. If you found it working for you, comment below. And in the comments, let people know how much fat you had to give them a realistic explanation. Now, these two things aren't going to work for everyone. What's a third one? Let's go to something that will work. Of course, non-surgical. What about injections? Yes, we have injections. This takes 10 minutes to do. Boom, 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 boom. Here's the downside to the injections that kill the fat cell. You do get swelling. You get some inflammation. You'll get a waddle for 5 to 7 days. That inflammation creates some tightening. I see tightening with this, so that's a nice thing. But a lot of people don't like that waddle for 5 to 7 days. The more dose you use, the more fat you have underneath. And if it's the first or second time you're doing it, you're going to get more swelling than those with just a little bit. So they already have a big submentum area, fat down here, and then you hammer them with that injection. The next thing, they have a huge waddle, but it does go away. And in studies, observers have found that they couldn't tell at about 5 to 6 days. The patient themselves, and this is fascinating, patients themselves said it lasted 2 to 3 weeks. We're much more critical of ourselves than the observers. So keep in mind, you might walk around and think you got this terrible under chin area, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? It looks fine. So there's injections, and what I'm talking about is deoxycholate. So in America, we call that Kybella. In Canada, it's Belkira. When you go outside of North America and Mexico, there's hundreds of these because there's compounded versions of phosphatidylcholine and deoxycholate. And they can be varying concentrations, and there's varying ones. But they work in the same fashion by basically busting those fat cells. They kill them. Is it permanent? Yes. How much is this going to run you? Depending on the country, it's very country specific. Some countries you'll see it as low as $500 for a couple sessions, because oftentimes you need 2 to 6 sessions. In the studies, people had on average 5 to 6. But remember, in a study, you really want the outcome. So they were hammered with a high dose with high amounts of treatments. But in general, for most people, think 2 to 3 treatment sessions. So anywhere from $500 to $2,000 would be a good price target to keep in mind. Next one is RF microneedling. Now, this is where you're using microneedles to go in and they heat the fat, thus killing the fat and remodeling with collagen and elastin. Now, you'll say, Dr. Johnny Morpheus, oh my God, that I lost the volume in my face. I look gaunt now. Exactly. And that's what you want under here. You want a loss of volume. Again, you can change the settings of these devices to tighten skin and not get rid of fat, so they can be used in other areas to help tighten the skin and change your texture. But it's the mindset of your provider. You need a great provider that does one setting, which is deeper and hotter for your downturned mouth and for your under chin, in this case we're talking about, and a different setting where you want to tighten skin, like the under eye, like back here, like the underneath the zygomatic bone, preauricular hollow. You don't want to lose volume there, or you'll lose too gaunt. You'll look too gaunt. Some of you say, Rajani, you lost weight, you look gaunt. A lot of that's lighting, and my weight does fluctuate depending on the sport season that I'm doing. But if you have too much loss here, the cheeks look high, people, oh, you had cheek filler. No, it's that you lost a little weight and you lost it here. So understand, RF microneedling, they can work. What devices would you look for? Nothing wrong with a Morpheus. It's the most marketed out there, so you guys know about it. I use a Lutronic. They have an Infinity and a Genius. I did a video on here with Dr. Ben Telly, and he likes the Profound. He talked about that on my video. That's a great one, especially if you're totally targeting fat. You want the most aggressive RF microneedling out there. Profound would be it. Agnes is another one. Money-wise, what are you spending? Again, 1,000, you're going to need several sessions for most people. 1,000 would be on the very low end. You're thinking $2,000 to $5,000. I do a fair bit of this in clinic. It's so popular. I get a little bored doing it, so I limit it to a couple patients a day. But I could be doing 4, 5, 6, 7 patients a day because actually I'm getting great results with it because of the settings I use, the machine I use, and I'm reducing fat aggressively in some areas, tightening in others. So I know my device really well. So if you find a provider that knows their device really well, $3,000 to $5,000, but you'll be happy. How long is it lasting? It's pretty permanent. As long as you maintain your skin, it'll last you as long as you stay healthy. Number 5, many of you ask me about this, cool sculpting. I'm a big fan of cool sculpting, and I've done cool sculpting since 2010. I don't do cool sculpting underneath the chin, and here is why. It is good technology. It's still the best technology, in my opinion, to reduce bulk fat. But when you get to the under chin area, although it can work if you have a larger chin, it's hard to sculpt because you're sucking the fat into an applicator. And with injections or RF microneedling, I can be very specific and point it with where I'm treating. With cool sculpting, here I have a large head of a device. I'm sucking the fat in. But combining cool sculpting with injections or RF microneedling, now I'm game for that. But cool sculpting works by cryolipolysis. Interestingly, way back in the day, what happened was women in Boston and Massachusetts area where it gets cold. I'm Canadian. I know how cold it is. They were on their horses and they'd have cold saddles in the mornings and they would lose inner thigh fat. And you're thinking, okay, that's good. Lose my inner thigh fat. They were happy about that. But you could see these equestrian women had scalloped out inner thighs. And they realized that the cold from the saddles was killing the fat cells. Also, popsicle paniculitis. That's where these kids, remember popsicles, they were popularized. Kids would have popsicles in their mouth and they were getting hollow cheeks and they were losing fat because of the cold from the popsicles. So people said, well, why not? Let's kill fat with cryolipolysis. And that's what cool sculpting is. So it works well, great for the body. I'm not as big a fan under the chin, but it can be used, especially if you have a lot of fat, think combinations. Now, another way you can tighten your under chin area is with LEDs. This is a natural way to do it. And LED light, what I'm talking about here is red, so think 630 nanometers, and near infrared, think 830 nanometers. That can help stimulate your fibroblasts to produce elastin and collagen. And the near infrared can also help with the bone structure and the fat pads. So it helps with dysfunction of fat pads, thereby making your fat pads more healthy. An LED light is non-invasive. These are things you can do at home. If you have one like this one up here, I have a jowl strap on mine, so make sure it gets the light in the right area. If you have a different mask and you like the wavelengths, it's working on your face, you'll simply want to move it so the lights are shining on your submentum area. Doesn't mean you need a whole new mask for that. But LED light, I'm a big fan. Combine that with retinols and glycolics for tightening and improving your skin quality. Add weight loss to that, a little bit of gua sha, and there's no need for surgery. So that's another one I like. Now, another one, of course, would be surgical liposuction. And actually, for a lot of people, this is pretty good. It's pretty quick to do. It's not that dangerous. You're not going to get tightening of the muscles with this. So you're not going to improve laxity if you need a facelift or you have laxity of the musculature and the platysma band or you have banding in the neck. But you can get rid of the fat. And keep in mind here, there's superficial and deeper fat. There's two fat pads that we're dealing with. But liposuction can address these and simply remove bulk fat. And for people who are a little younger, yes, elasticity will take over and you'll get tightening. Not so much a fan of the laser lipos. I don't think the laser in the laser lipo adds a lot of tightening to it. But even if you had some laxity, you can then get RF microneedling. You can then get radio frequency, Ulthera, or things like Thermage to tighten the skin. And remember, you're not worried about losing fat because so many of you don't want to lose fat. I do want to make a point here. Let's talk about your at-home devices because a lot of people have the galvanics, which are electrical charges, tripolar, different ones that they use down in the neck. Those don't create heat. The pure ones, the ones without heating RF in them, so just the electrical charge, the galvanics, they don't have heat that's going to kill your fat cells. Now, some of you will comment, and again, comment below that, hey, you lost facial fat with your galvanic. I'm not discounting that, and here's why. I think there's a group of people who are somewhat sensitive to fat cells, killing of the fat cells. And that could be through heating at lower levels than we see with most people. And it could be with galvanics. There's just no data or proof of that. But even if they don't produce heat, because I know many of you feel that way. Also keep in mind, what are you doing with those devices? You're massaging, you're gua shaing with them. And I think that's killing some of the fat cells too, is aggressive massage with your galvanics. But by and large, your galvanics, you're going to get the tightening from the massage, from the gua sha, from the lymphatic drainage, but they're not going to kill your fat cells or chisel your jawline outside of that from the galvanic electrical activity. Those are positive, negative charges. They can help improve the absorption of your skincare, and you can get lipo-filling type of products like like Volufiline that you can fill certain areas with, and they might help that absorption. But they're not going to sculpt your jawline in and of itself of the technology of your at-home galvanic. You're going to want to watch this video playlist up here all about LED near infrared, one down here about infrared saunas. Many of you have questions on that. And one up here about red light LEDs and facial fat pads. Stay tuned here. Keep your skin and body beautiful, healthy, and vibrant.